So this boss destroyer Moze build is disgusting. We've been farming, I don't know, 14 hours in the past 2 days to murder Gravewarden. You don't even have to look at the Mayhem modifiers, it does that much damage. And I'll just break down the talent choices first. So we're going to dip heavily into Shield of Retribution and Bottomless Mags. Bottomless Mags is the is definitely like the main point of this build, but the goal is not to do anything else other than murder bosses. You can go mob with this fine still, but the whole goal is you're not really trying to pick up all of like your kill skill talents. You're trying to pick up stuff that is just going to do straight up damage. So you are going to want to have this match set, but first, well, I'll just go straight down the line. Cloud of Lead first and foremost, because it's a straight damage boost. The main goal of this build is using fire damage, so you're going to want this bonus incendiary damage, and every 4 shots doesn't consume ammo. That's always nice because you're doing bottomless mags, right? But again, like, it's all about the damage. Strike the Embers increases your incendiary damage again. Redistribution, you obviously want to keep critting and keep regenerating ammo. This is pretty obvious, like, just take it, otherwise what's the point of even running bottomless mags? This, always put 5 points in, critical damage, fire rate, increases your DPS. That's pretty obvious, right? Magazine size is key because, like, Moze's, how bottomless mags works is it regenerates based off the percentage of your magazine, right? So if your magazine is small, you're not going to be generating as much. So like my gun has like a 30 round mag, and it might do like a little bit less base damage than some of the other variants, but because your mag size is so large, you're able to hold down the trigger for a lot longer because you're regenerating a larger percentage of your clip. So you want to, ideally, along with this, you want to try and get things on your Moze build that is going to increase your mag size. Click, click, gets increased gun damage as your magazine empties. This is kind of tricky, right? Because you're eventually going to run out of ammo, and the nice thing about having like a round, like a 30 or 20 round mag, is that your gun damage will increase because your magazine will deplete, but you're going to have enough to be able to kill Gravewarden like 2 times over. Some for the road. This I go back and forth on. Iron Bear is useless on Moze. Like, everybody knows that. But this allows you, when you're just farming like Gravewarden or something, the 5 seconds of infinite ammo after exiting, if you can just like time it properly so that it doesn't actually slow down your farm at all, it makes it so you can output a lot more damage because you're not dipping into this magazine, and therefore you're just outputting more sustained damage. So if you do have like minus 50% sniper damage reduction, minus 50% incendiary reduction, minus 50% gun reduction, like that and the magazine size is what's going to allow you to basically power through it and still kill Gravewarden. And then obviously you want Forge because it gives you more magazine replenishment, right? So don't even bother looking at the Iron Bear talents because they do not matter at all. So then for Shield of Retribution, now some builds you could go down and grab some from Demolition Woman because there are a couple things that will increase your damage, but Shield of Retribution I think is just so much better, and for a variety of reasons. But you get bonus incendiary damage, right, whenever you reload, which isn't really all the time, but if you do have to reload, usually it's because the boss has some kind of crazy defensive modifier on, so you're going to want to have it's nice to have that little boost of gun damage. And all of this incendiary damage that we're picking up is going to be multiplied later by like an enormous amount. So if you do have to reload for whatever reason, like, it's incredible. Obviously though, get armored infantry first. Just a flat 50% gun damage. Like, why wouldn't you get that? It's absolutely nutty. Then normally I just go down to thin red line because 60% of your health is reserved. I'm running predominantly a deathless build, meaning my health is going to be like 1 all the time, so having 60% of your health reserved doesn't matter at all. It's just a nice damage boost when you go farther down the tree. Again, your maximum shield increasing. It's just nice to have a little bit more shields, and there's not really much else you can dip into here that's going to increase your damage by a significant amount, and you need the points to go into the next tier. Drowning in Brass, again, it's kind of useless, right? Because you're only killing the boss. That's what this build is about. It's about killing the boss, so having a kill skill is pretty much worthless. It's kind of a useless trait. But whenever Moze scores a critical hit, you do incendiary damage. That's plus 10% incendiary damage based off of your damage dealt, which again is going to be multiplied in a little bit. And the last talent I'm picking up is the lower your health is, the higher gun damage is. And so because you're going to have 60% of your health reserved and you're basically going to be running around at 1 HP, you're going to have a constant plus 50% gun damage, which is nutty. The other traits don't really matter that much. Like if you're going for mobbing, I would say like pick up Phalanx Doctrine and put points into Drowning in Brass, because obviously you're going to be getting kills, and that's kind of what makes this build like insane if you go mobbing. But for boss killing, it's a waste. Scoring a critical kill doesn't matter. It's a waste. And Tenacious Defense, you don't need it because your shields shouldn't be getting depleted. So that's pretty much it for the talents. I think I do put some points into splash damage, dealing bonus incendiary damage, just because it was extra, but I can't remember if that's actually just from, that might be just from my class mod. But if you are kind of iffy on any of the other points, or you have some extra points that you don't want to spend, you just want to tailor the build a little bit, because of the class mod that we're using, you are going to be dealing some splash damage. So again, any kind of extra incendiary damage that you can do, you're going to want to do it. So let's go and take a look at the weapons now, because this is where it gets crispy. And this is where it gets a little bit more specialized. But also it's kind of flexible. You're going to want to have incendiary weapons though, right? The key is like this Luda, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be anointed. Like honestly, you can probably do it without having a fire one. Like if you're going for, I don't know, maybe you have a shock one, because of this artifact. This artifact is just like amazing. Like I cannot give these away enough. Like I cannot recommend this enough. I don't know what else could possibly compare to Elemental Projector. It doesn't even have to be Deathless. Deathless is nice because you're increasing your shield capacity more. And because you're running 1 HP build, you want to be a little bit tankier, but the key is Elemental Projector. And Elemental Projector is what amplifies all of that, like, I don't know how much incendiary damage we just picked up, and it amplifies the amount of damage that this Luda is going to be doing. So, like, this Luda, even though its mag size says 22, when you actually, like, have it on with all of your magazine mods, it's going to be like a 30-round clip. You're going to go and you're going to use this Elemental Projector. And so when you light yourself on fire, you're going to do 183% bonus damage with all incendiary sources, right? Which is just like, that's insane. That's absolutely insane. And that's why this build is so good. And that's why you don't have to care about the Mayhem modifiers. Like, you can check the channel. We farmed for like 12 hours. Didn't have to look at the Mayhem modifiers at all, because like no matter what, you're going to be able to kill him in a single clip. And if not, you take a couple more shots if he has some kind of crazy defensive modifier, right? Class mod. This is Moze's best single target class mod. I got lucky, I got a sniper rifle damage one, but you're going to be critically hitting all the time. You drop more micro grenades, and if you spec into that little bit of splash damage, it makes it so you are also doing a little bit extra incendiary damage. Again, we're just trying to eke out like little itty bitty things. Shield doesn't really matter too much. I mean, you're not going to be taking any damage, or at least you shouldn't be. It kind of depends, right, like on what boss you're farming, but Tyrene, nobody really farms Tyrene anymore because they killed King's Call, and the other bosses don't really matter. This is mostly for like murdering Gravewarden at like or insane efficiency. But I always run front loader. I thought about running router, right? And if you don't know what router is, it's basically if you have full shields, your first shot is going to like take, what is it, like 30% damage? Or no, it's going to take 20% of your shield for like a 30% damage amplification on the first shot, which would be nice when you're farming bosses, but the thing is that you have to have full shields for it, and that's useless if I'm going to be lighting myself on fire. And the way I'm going to be lighting myself on fire is using this hazardous sellout. I think you might be able to do it with any kind of Malawan pistol, and you might be able to do it with the Trevenator Malawan exotic shotgun, but the sellout, I'm quite certain, is the easiest one to get. So on Ambermire, Tyrene has a side quest called like the sellout. I think it's like right underneath the Rogue's Den fast travel checkpoint, and when you go through that side quest, I'm fairly certain that she mails you one of these sellouts. And so that could be a really easy way for you to light yourself on fire. If for whatever reason you've already done it and you toss this like I did originally, thankfully a viewer sent me one, then you can also just light yourself on fire with any kind of grenade. Or you can, you know, if you're running a shock Luda and you haven't gotten lucky with a fire Luda, you can go and shock yourself, you can corrode yourself, you can ice yourself. Some people say that the ice one doesn't work that much. I'm not really sure because I don't have an ice Luda, but like cryo just damage in general is kind of rough. You're not going to be really doing grenade damage, but the goal here, right, with your elemental projector is you're going to light yourself on fire. You're going to use, at least optimally, right, you hop down into Iron Bear, and by the time you hit the ground, you want to be exiting Iron Bear, so you have that 5 seconds of infinite ammo, and then you light yourself on fire, and then you light up the boss, and then hopefully he just dies, and he will die 90% of the time. And that's really all there is to it. So let's just go down there. This time we have kind of a nice elemental modifier, but we can do it a couple times just to show. So we just go, we hop out of Iron Bear, light ourselves on fire, and then he just melts. And because of the Iron Bear, like I didn't even have to touch my actual magazine. So if for whatever reason he wasn't, you know, elementally modified, I have to check this for stream just to make sure that nobody's missing out on anything good. Okay, cool. If we did have a bad elemental modifier, we'd still be able to, we would still have an entire clip, and we just went through his whole health pool. It's insane. But that's really the basis of the whole build, right? And we can go and, sorry for the loading screen, but we can go and kill him a million times. You guys have already seen it. So you've been sitting on stream, but it's really that simple. You don't even need Iron Bear, but in the event that we get a really bad elemental damage reduction, it's nice to have it. And because you're so tanky, it doesn't matter if the boss has like reflected projectiles or anything like that, because you just tank it. So like, why wouldn't you use this? I think that Moze, in terms of boss killing and mobbing, she's just insane. I would put her, then Amara, and then Flak, and then Zane at the way bottom. Flak's crit build is fine, but I don't know. But anyway, that's basically the single target Moze build. Do you guys have any questions? And, you know, there's certain things that you could do to add on to, like, add onto your damage a little bit, like bonus sniper damage. You know, you don't need to have an elemental deathless. You can go and, you know, try and use other things, but you want to have elemental projector no matter what. If you find one anywhere, it doesn't matter what it is, just use it because it's amazing. And like, just farm as much as you can while you can, right? But I think this build is nutty. You don't have to exit out if you get a crappy modifier because it will always die no matter what. And you know, I hope you guys like it. I hope you guys use it. And if you have any questions or you need these items, you just hop into stream, and we've been handing them out like hotcakes. I'm pretty sure we fully geared like 7 people at this point to do this build, with the exception of Molten Luda. Luda's a little bit hard to get, but definitely go and trade for it or drop into the comments or whatever. But that's really all there is to it, people. And actually, you know what? Why don't I just show you real quick before I end this video segment. I'll just light myself on fire with a firestorm grenade, just so you can see that it's possible. Hopefully this thing doesn't like bounce and do anything weird. Oh, that works. Oh, and I didn't use Iron Bear, which is pretty obvious, but like, you're still fine. And you can see at the end there, my magazine is getting a little bit low, but because the magazine size is so large, you're going to be regenerating a ton, and you're going to be doing increased bullet damage as it goes down. So wouldn't it be crazy if a Molten Luda dropped while I'm doing this video? That would be nutty, but it didn't. So what can you do? And it would have been nice to get something where we lost minus 50% damage with all guns. That works. We shredded him, and we didn't use Iron Bear. We just nuked him. That's how good this build is, people. Just build it, keep it, love it. That's all there is to it. If you have any questions, Adam D, out.